people about water quality in our rivers and streams. And so for that particular group, we're really talking about the St. Mary's, the St. Joe, and the Maumee, particularly what we'll call the upper Maumee. And so we use these rain barrel workshops as a way to reach out to the public, to just help you learn a little bit about how to take care of your watershed and our local water, and what citizens can do. And certainly one of those things that citizens can do is use rain barrels. That's our tie-in here. Okay. So let me just explain. Hang on. Is everything okay, Carl? All right. Let me just explain. I brought my favorite. I'm so beat up. We've been doing these workshops for years. Now I'm drawing this huge map all over the place, but I love it. I'm a map lover. So what I want to point out to you that's really ultimately important here is that our rivers, even Cedar Creek, which is right up here, all of our water in this particular area ultimately flows to Lake Erie. Okay? And have you ever heard that Lake Erie's got some water quality problems? Mm-hmm. For sure it does. And the Maumee River is the greatest contributor to those water quality problems because of the nutrient load. That's primarily nitrogen and phosphorus and some ammonia. So the nutrient load is a huge driver of the algae blooms that happen every summer. So there's that going on. The Maumee also carries tons and tons of sediment, soil that's washing off of our lands here. It stays suspended in the water. As long as water is moving, all of these pollutants stay suspended in the water. And they don't settle out of the water until water stops moving. So where does the Maumee stop moving? Lake Erie. Right, in the western bay of Lake Erie. Right where it hits the lake, the water stops and everything gets deposited up there. So I just wanted to give you some perspective here. This is the what we call the Western Lake Erie Basin watershed. And so this is over 5 million acres. We're kind of like, I know a little more specifics, but ultimately, you see all of this land here. Let me give you some perspective. Up here is Michigan. I put that in my pocket. Up here is Michigan. Then we have Ohio, and of course Indiana. And a slice. Most of the state of Indiana flows to the Mississippi. But in the northeast part of Indiana, we got this little oddball area that actually flows northeast to Erie. So here we have Fort Wayne. Okay. And you can see that, the Summit City, the High Point, you hear about historically, you've heard about the canals and everything that had to move through the high point of Fort Wayne, the Summit City, so that they could then get to the other side where the rivers flow to the Wabash and on the Mississippi. So being the high point, that makes what's called a watershed break. So a watershed is this area of land that when it rains or when the snow melts and water starts to move on the land, where does it go? Okay. That's the watershed of a body of water. So again, this is all the Western Lake Erie Basin. To give you some perspective, here is the St. Joe watershed. This is about 700,000 acres, okay? And we are down here today in Cedar Creek, a little spot on the map there. So the St. Joe begins up in Hillsdale, Michigan, and it flows into Ohio, then it swings back in a westerly fashion into Indiana, ultimately comes into Fort Wayne. The St. Mary's River, that's about 500,000 acres of watershed. The St. Mary's starts in about St. Mary's, Ohio, flows northwest into Indiana, ultimately comes in and meets the St. Joe in Fort Wayne. So then the two of them form the Maumee River, and it snakes its way on into the bay. So these are, so whatever happens on the land here affects water. And I think about 87% of these millions of acres here are in agricultural row crop production. And so that's the primary land use that's affecting water quality. I don't think there's any surprises there. And you want a clean field of corn and beans. You don't want any weeds in there. You don't want nothing. You want a monoculture of that crop. You have to apply a lot of fertilizer to nourish the plants. You have to do a lot of pesticides, herbicides, and whatever all to make those crops grow. So that land use has tremendous effect on water quality. Okay? But so do cities. Okay? And so an area like Fort Wayne, we're going to call those urban impacts there. And so there's all kinds of potential impacts from urban areas and also suburban, particularly like residential areas, like out through here. Everybody's on a septic system out in these outlying areas here. And septic systems in our soil types only last about 20 to 30 years. Then they need replaced. Because the breakdown of the nutrients in the effluent is done in the soil itself. And we have heavy clay soils, and so they plug up over time, and they stop functioning to treat that effluent in the leach fields. And so we have over 50 to 60% of the septic systems all across all of these states, because we've asked health departments, how are their septic systems working? 50 to 60% of them are in failure. So we have a lot of bacteria problems, a lot of E. coli issues, in addition to our nutrient issues and our sediment issues in our water. So we got quite a bag of things that conservation professionals work on. There's tons of people like me and Kyle out there that works for DNR, Department of Agriculture, local watersheds, soil and water districts. There's so many of us trying to get that messaging out and trying to help these issues. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm going to pause here and let Kyle take over for a little bit, then I'll rejoin to talk to you a little more about the connection between your rain barrels, if you're doing your part, and water quality, and then we'll go right into how to make the rain barrels, and we'll assist you with that. So, Kyle.
Well, I want to thank Sharon and the Maumee Watershed Alliance for partnering with us, the St. Joe River Watershed Initiative, on this project here. It's part of a larger project to write a watershed management plan for the Cedar Creek Watershed. The Cedar Creek Watershed is 175,000 acres, mostly in Noble County, but also in DeKalb and obviously in Allen County, because we're in that watershed right now. There was a watershed management plan written for the Cedar Creek back in 2005, and they had 5 main goals to meet by 2025, and none of them have been met. And most of that is because of the land use changes that have happened since then. We have seen a 50% population growth in the watershed since 2005, with all the developments happening, with row crops being changed into housing developments, deforestation that's occurring. So with this watershed management plan, we're going to go out, test the water at 12 sites. One of them is a historic site that's tested every year since 1996. So there's a lot of data on that. That's on Conkle Road, but there's 11 other sites we're going to be testing for nutrients, dissolved reactive phosphorus, total phosphorus, nitrate, nitrite, E. coli, temperature, DO, pH. I think that is it. But then we're also doing biological sampling, so we're going to check the fish and the mussels at 11 of those sites, as well as doing habitat assessments for aquatic life in the creek in the riparian area. So we're going to get a lot of data from that. We're also going to do land use surveys, so we're going to drive the entire watershed, see what's happening on the land, do a desktop survey, so we can put those two sources of information together to find out where the actual water quality impairments are coming from. And that will help guide the people that Sharon was talking about that are working so hard to improve water quality. They'll know where to start implementing, and we can look for funds to start implementing that as well. So that'll be done in 2025. And one thing that's really important is to gather public input. So what is important to you in the Cedar Creek watershed? And if you're willing to, we have a survey. It'll take you 5 minutes, and we have a QR code taped up there on the table, so you can just do it on your phone to give us your input on what's important to you for the Cedar Creek. We also have a little fact sheet. If you haven't grabbed one, please do so on your way out. So it tells you some basic facts about the watershed, but also more about our project. Again, this is with the St. Joe River Watershed Initiative, and if you follow them on Facebook, you'll get regular updates on what's happening with this project specifically. So thank you all for coming out here and doing your part to help improve water quality, and also to lower your water bill so you can water your plants with clean water instead. Yeah,
Right. So, so here in this area, we have water quality problems. We've already talked about that. So, but in the cities, we also have a water quantity problem. And part of that is because a little bit, we're leaning towards some climate change issues where our rainfall events are different than they used to be. When many of us were children here, we would get gentle rains for days. We'd be cooped up in the house for days, driving our parents nuts. Because it just didn't. Well, it seems like nowadays we get gully washers, like bam, just all these inches of rain in a few hours. It's just that's a lot of water for our surface, for the land to handle. So we do end up getting a lot more runoff. And if you think about a city, particularly, you got your roof, your driveway, the parking lots. I mean, it's concrete city. So anytime, and even like Kyle was saying out here in Cedar Creek, I'm sure it must have an increased runoff value because what used to be farmland or a forest where water could rain on that and soak in, now it's housing developments and in commercial areas, and it hits that and it all runs off. Okay. So we have a water quantity problem here as well. And so this is one way where rain barrels come into play. Because now you guys will be holding back generally 50 gallons of water. These are 50-gallon barrels. But you'll empty it. You'll capture that, use it, and then it'll fill again. And so you will be probably holding back, I don't know, over the course of the time your barrel's out, maybe 300 gallons of water, right? Over the cycling like that, potentially. And if you get mosquito larvae in it, you just have to dump it. I mean, it could be, but we've been doing these workshops for, I think this is the third or fourth year. And so, generally speaking, roughly 60 barrels go out to the public every year. So what I'm saying is if that seems like, it's just a small thing you can do, that you're part of a cumulative effort to help hold back water. So you can hold it back and get it to soak in the ground, then it's not picking up pollutants as it runs across the parking lots. So So anyway, that's our rain barrel tie-in here. Okay. So yeah, let's just talk a little bit about how these barrels are going to work for you. Just want to mention a few things. I set these here because we get our barrels from Seckler's Pickles. So they're pickle barrels up in St. Joe, Indiana. And so we like using what we call food grade barrels. Now that doesn't mean that you can't use a barrel that contains some sort of chemical compound. For people certainly do. So you could do that, but for us, we just like using food grade because we can. We used to get them from Pepsi, even the headquarter syrup. So we try to stick with that. So, but I mentioned that we get them from Seckler's because for sure you're going to smell the pickle smell in there. It's a vinegar smell, and we did rinse them out. But
We smell like pickles.
we yeah. So the barrels themselves, when we pick them up. See here, it's a two-part lid, and this tray is in there, like that. So for your rain barrel, you don't need the tray. But I brought extra trays in case you want this, because I use them, I set plants on them, particularly when I bring plants in the winter, you know, kind of thing. So there could be some practical applications for you if you want to take one with you there over there. Otherwise, like I said, for the function of the rain barrel, we don't need them because what we do for the top is we have this fiberglass screen, and just so that we can keep mosquitoes and leaves and stuff from getting in here, you'll be, and this isn't necessarily something that you need to do today, but you'll need to take screen with you, and then you'll just screw the top on like that. And I will mention, once again, like what concerns about rain barrels, if you get somehow, mosquitoes shouldn't be able to get to your water to lay eggs, but somehow you see mosquito larvae in your barrel, you can take a drop of dish soap. Usually just takes a drop, and because there's a surfactant in dish soap, it destroys the surface of the water, which those mosquito larvae are hanging onto, then they all just sink in the back. Or you can dump it and start over. But anyway, okay. So supplies-wise, here's what we're going to use today. And this is a very simplified, you know, obviously make and take, you know, we've got a pretty simple system for you today. But what you'll be doing is you'll come down here. Okay, so notice on your barrel that you have a table here. Okay, so the spigot that you're going to install today is going to go above that table. You don't want it down here, okay? These barrels, this design we're using today, these barrels are made to be set up on blocks. So you can make a little wooden platform or get two of those concrete blocks and set it up. And so your spigot is going to be installed here. So it's in good position. It's up on blocks. You could set a bucket under that and fill the bucket. Okay? Oh, thank you, dear. That's good. So, so you can fill a bucket with them. Remember, these are just going to be gravity flow things. We're not going to be able to hook a hose on down here. I mean, it'll fit a hose. We're going to be able to hook a hose on and then go over there with our hose and water because it's gravity flow. So what you'll be doing today is there's stations set up at the workbench over there, and you will use a 1-inch hole saw to drill the hole in the bucket, or in the barrel. And then the spigot goes in there. On the back side of the spigot, you'll be using a washer. So this will be on the back side. So we'll put that washer on. And then before you screw on the nut, that's gonna hold that all together, I would suggest that you use some of this marine adhesive on the threads. You can actually put it on the threads of this and then screw that in, and that way you've got that nice tight permanent bond. And if for some reason you are not sure that you're ready to make that permanent setting today, then just screw the nut on and take it that way. But we normally put the adhesive on to seal that all up. And so we've got some gloves over there. Really using this type of a washer. You shouldn't have too much trouble with that adhesive, but if you're messy like me, you might want to throw some gloves on. So some drainage things you need to think about when you're selecting the place for your grain barrel to be located. Let's talk a little bit about installation then. So we've got the gutter, the downspout, which right now goes all the way to the ground, to the plate. So what you're going to have to do is position that barrel so that you know where to cut that downspout. You want to cut it. And you could go to any big box store or Amazon and get a diversion kit. Since rain barrels are so common now, you can just get a little kit and you put the thing on the downspout. It actually has a valve in it there. Or you could do something as simple as just make that cut. Don't throw away that bottom section. Hang on to that for a minute. We'll come back to that. Okay, but we made a cut, and we could even just have something like this for 50 cents for and put that on the downspout, and now water is directed into the barrel. We just need some kind of an elbow because the downspout's right up against the house, and we need it. So we just need some kind of elbow to push it. And these sections, I found these are so easy to work with because they just screw on to the other material. You just put a couple little screws in them to hold them because they're only going to be there part of the year, most likely. Because in the winter, late fall, we want to take the barrel and turn it upside down because they will, the barrels can crack if they get frozen. Brian and Kyle and myself will be glad to help you. What we want to encourage you to do is team up because when it comes to installing this, one person hold the barrel for your partner while they drill. Put that spigot in, and then you got to get down in there a little bit to reach toward the bottom. But your barrel can be up on the workbench, so it's laying horizontal. But you got to get down in there with your arm to put that nut on. And your partner is going to hold the spigot still, so as you tighten that nut, the spigot is straight up and down. Okay? So, pretty simple.
It's important that when you're drilling that hole that you get that nice and straight, you know, like don't go at an angle. Make sure you, and I think it'll be easier up on these, on this bench here.
Yeah.
Just make sure that it goes in straight because otherwise if you go on an angle, your spigot will be on an angle and it won't seal the way it should seal.
That's true. So definitely, I know some of you came together, that's great. Otherwise we'll partner up so that, you know, we can help each other with those, right? Okay, so what you need to do is get yourself a barrel, and then the supplies you'll need are over on that table, right? You're going to take, you know, you grab one each of those things there, and then head over to the drills where they're set up, and we're here to help you in any way we can.
No, it's going to have streets.
Okay. I figured you cut them up. And
Sorry. You okay?
If you want to be that precise, otherwise,
You can take one with you, but we don't have the tools to cut that today.
I'm doing okay. I can have it right.
Maybe a tip to put it inside the nut.
I'm going to put that in there. All right.
Might as well.
Just a
that we were doing here. If that's snugged in there.
Where's the marine
help.
stuff?
There's some right here. And there's another hole. So, and let's take the lid off, because we have better access. Yeah,
I know, I cleaned it off a little bit. Yeah, but it's still so sticky.
I think it'll wear off over time, you know?
I don't know what it is.
Understand this.
Okay,
Alright.
so it goes like this and then like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, and then we're gonna have some of that marine adhesive in that, we call it the nut. And I'll hold that for you, okay? But can you see what you're doing?
Nope, but I can feel it.
And if we need, I can get my flashlight, but,
There we go. Okay.
and let's work with a partner on that, because you gotta have that spigot.
I was just trying to get the.
I can hold it for you.
Okay, there you go.
No, actually, I'm just trying to. Oh, yeah. That one, I don't have long arms.
You okay? There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Ooh, this is gonna be fun. You hold mine and I'll hold yours? Okay, perfect.
Are you sure you?
All right, I don't know what's the right amount of goo. Yes. This looks about right. Okay, and then. Okay. Yeah, I know. Be careful, my hands will grow. Yes. Mine is like super fun. Dripping on my hands. This is fun.
Zoe, are you putting the washer on?
Yep, I already have the washer on. I'm putting the nut on now.
Did you get the adhesive in the nut?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's on my hands too.
Where are those gloves?
Okay, it's all set.
That stuff is sticky, guys.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Now there's some of the wipes here. You can wipe your hands.
Okay.
Since you seem to be able to.
Anybody else want gloves?
How much want you?
That stuff is
Dang.
nasty when it gets on your fingers.
Yeah, I guess I should have got some gloves.
Oh, yours is rolling.
Oh no.
Here's a glove. Oops.
And we got soap and water.
I'm not sure if soap and water, because I had some of this stuff on my hand the other day. and it was hard to get off.
Ah, don't say that. I'm gonna get a wipe really quick.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no,
I will. I'm gonna have her. What's easier for you? Like this up or down?
either way is okay.
How we doing?
No, I had to twist it, like screw it in.
Yeah, you have to screw it
You
in.
have to.
Okay. I put the hand on.
You're gonna hold that.
Yes, please. Let me get the hand on.
So I might need gloves.
Yeah.
Got it?
I'll do this.
You good? Got it. Okay. Thank you.
As long as it's covering my name. Oh, which part is the gooey part? This part? Okay.
Put it on the gloves. In here you got the gloves. Yeah.
This is a big barrel. Okay. The dogs are down with basically.
Okay. That's about more.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah.
Here you go.
My pleasure. Ooh, my hands are still really gross. Ooh. Gotta get it off before it dries. Lay it to rest.
It's working on the nut. Because you should hold it to get so it doesn't turn if you can. He was up there for 7 years.
There we go, nice and tight.
Got it?
Ta-da. This is nice.
I want to go this way.
So yeah, I'm not looking for